UFC 311 Islam Makhachev versus Arman Saruki in 2 kicks us off with the first pay-per-view of the 2025 year, and it is a banger event. This is the Funkin' Flex MMA preview and prediction show, and I'm really excited to break this one down for you guys after going 9-5 on the fight night last week, which many people thought was going to be a snooze fest, and I really enjoyed the card. 9 of the 14 fights ended in finishes, and I think it's just setting us up and leading us up to have a great event for the first pay per view of the year. Many highly anticipated matchups in this one, as well as a lot of young prospects. So, without further ado, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and we'll go ahead and jump into the first fight of the night. Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. This one's kind of a tough one to pick, guys, because I really want to lean towards the dog here at plus 270 in Clayton Carpenter. We just haven't really seen too much film of him at this high level of a competition. And Tagir Ulanbekov really has looked impressive, coming off of 2 submission wins. Last one to Cody Durden and the one before that to Nate Maness. And those are really 2 tough opponents, even though they're not ranked guys and he's not crushing anyone at the top or dominating anybody that's at an extreme high level either. He is beaten 2 tough UFC fighters that have won really good matchups, both with Cody Durden and Nate Maness, and they both specifically have pretty decent jiu-jitsu as well. So for him to get those submission wins pretty early in the fight too, the last one to Durden in the second round and Maness was in the first. I think that he could be a problem here for Clayton Carpenter, who doesn't really have this high level of experience. That being said, Tagir Ulanbekov did get boxed up by Tim Means. And Tim Means is a veteran with a lot of experience, so I don't want to compare him to Clayton Carpenter, but I do think that Means is someone with, crisp boxing that can stuff the takedowns. And if Clayton Carpenter can stuff those takedowns and not let Ulanbekov get to the submission threats on top, I think he might be able to box this one out. But I just haven't seen enough of it, and it's hard for me to make that pick. This might be one of those where I'm kicking myself next Wednesday, where I could have gotten a underdog pick right. But I am going to go to Tagir Ulanbekov for the pick in this one for the first fight of the night. The second fight of the night, we have a matchup between Ricky Turcios and Bernardo Sopaj, and the pick on this one is going to be Bernardo Sopaj. He did have an absolute war with Vinicius Oliveira, where he was the victim of the unfortunate highlight of the year, KO of the year candidate with that flying knee that he suffered in the third round. But many people don't talk about the performance he was putting on before that. And I think that his hands at 135 could be a problem. He had Oliveira rocked in several occasions, at least 3 occasions that I can recall off the top of my head. I should have rewatched that fight, but I do remember it pretty clearly. And he had Vinicius Oliveira really hurt in several positions. Did look good on the ground too when he got it there. Like he had decent wrestling, and not just the wrestling, but good top control too. Oliveira with some great jiu-jitsu struggled to get out of those bottom positions and sweeps, and we haven't really seen him to be one that just likes to lay on his back. And on the other hand, we have Ricky Turcios, who's coming off of the loss to Raul Rosas Jr. And just what was a performance that he looked decent at the beginning, landing some shots on the feet, piecing him up. Not that that says much against Raul Rosas, but when Rosas was able to take him down, he was just able to get the fight over with the easy submission. And I think that Sopaj might be live for that as a little degenerate sprinkle. But either way, Sopaj is going to be the pick in this one. I think that his hands crack way harder, and I could see this one. It's really a tough one to predict. I want to see what the odds come in at for these some of these props, but Sopaj for submission could be live. Is I just was not impressed with how Tercios looked when the fight got to the ground. And I think that Tercios may be able to, have some volume late at the end of the fight if it gets there. But Sopaj on the feet in the first 2 rounds, give me that all day, especially with the power that he possesses. I would not be surprised at all if it's a KO. So give me him to win either 2 rounds to 1 KO or submission. Either way, Sopaj is the pick for the second fight of the night. On to the next, we have a matchup between Rinya Nakamura versus Muin Gafurov. And for this one, Nakamura is going to be the pick. I won't waste much time on it. I think that he's definitely the crisper striker on the feet. And if Gafarov is able to land some of those takedowns that he likes to get, Nakamura has shown to really have submission threats anywhere off of his back. And the Nakamura definitely with elite wrestling as well. I think this should be an easy 10-0 win for Rinya Nakamura, as he'll be the pick for the third fight of the night. On to the next, we have a matchup between Carol Rosa and Eileen Perez. And even though I do think this is going to be a very tough matchup for Eileen Perez, her toughest of her career, I am going to go ahead and give y'all a dog pick on this one. I like Eileen Perez to get this done. And one thing I always like in MMA that I tell you guys every week is the ability to get the fight to the ground and to hold it there. And Eileen Perez has that ability. I think that if she's losing moments, especially late in this fight, she's going to be able to get it there. And for that, I think she's going to be able to squeak out a decision victory here with two dominant rounds at least over Carol Rosa. Well, Carol Rosa has looked very good on the feet. I think her takedown defense is questionable, and while she may make Eileen Perez work for it early, I think that she'll be able to get it there, especially if Eileen is committed to getting it. Um, I think Eileen's going to be willing to strike with her for a little bit, but nonetheless, I'm going to go Eileen Perez with the pick, as I do think she'll be eventually able to get it to the ground. Up next, we have a matchup between Zachary Reese and Azamet Bekoyev. And for this one, it's hard to see a lot of footage on Azamet. I do like Zachary Reese a lot as an athlete, though. And I'm going to be picking him in this one. I think that it was a fluke loss from the Cody Brundage fight where he got slammed on the back of his head. He was pretty deep in the armbar, and Cody Brundage himself even admitted it because the fight directly before it, ended in a KO slam. That's how Cody Brundage thought of it doing it, and Zachary Reese had a nice armbar locked up on that. I think he learned from his mistake, and he's going to be cautious of those slams now. And Azamet Boykoyev, from what I understand, is just a kickboxer, and 18-3 record without really fighting any tough competition as far as I know. He's been fighting in the LFA, and I just think Zachary Reese is going to be able to get the job done here. He hits hard, and not only does he hit hard, but he's got good wrestling, and he's just a freak athlete. Give me Zachary Reese for the pick in this fight. Moving on, we have a matchup here at the lightweight division between Grant Dawson and Diego Ferreira. And this one, well, I normally would just automatically pick the younger fighter by 9 years. It did make me stop and think for a second. That KO to Bobby Green that Grant Dawson suffered was just a really scary knockout. And I did lose money on that. And for me, it always is going to make me think twice on it now. And Diego Ferreira is someone that we know is a tough guy who hits hard. That being said, though, I think Grant Dawson is one of the best grapplers in this lightweight division, and I do think that he's going to be able to take Diego Ferreira down and finish him there, whether it be a ground and pound KO or submission. I don't think that Diego Ferreira is going to last 3 rounds with Grant Dawson coming at him. That being said, I don't know if Grant Dawson is going to be able to last on the feet if he can't get it down. So if Diego Ferreira can keep this on the feet, I totally understand those that want to bet him, especially by early KO. Is Grant Dawson's chin just it was just a straight punch right down the middle that Bobby Green hit him with, and it put him out cold for a few minutes. And Diego Ferreira throws some nasty shots, and he can hit from all angles. So I am gonna go Grant Dawson, not to make it sound like a too confident pick because it's not, but that is gonna be the pick for this card. Moving on, Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Elikana. Billy Elikana taking this fight on a last-minute notice, up a weight class, and the first fight of his UFC career. Automatically, with all of those locked, I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov. Those factors are not working in Billy Elikana's favor, and Bogdan Guskov has shown that he can put anyone out at this light heavyweight division. He's a very, very accurate striker who does headhunt. He'll rock you with some body shots, but it'll be 100 to the head and 5 to the body. Those 5 to the body are going to hurt because Guskov really cracks, and I just don't see a way that Elikana can win this unless he can find a way to show some dominant grappling skills that I haven't seen. I just think that Guskov is really live to win this fight on the feet. And maybe Elikana can get another matchup in his next fight. But for this first one, Bogdan Guskov, the savage striker that did not take this fight on short notice, up a weight class. Give me for the pick. Moving on, we have a matchup at the heavyweight division between Hayat Almeida and Sergey Spivak, and this one to me is one of the more intriguing matchups on this card. I do like Hayat Almeida for the pick, but I could understand why you would go towards the Sergey Spivak lean, especially at plus 350. This line is really wide, but I do think Hayat Almeida is the better grappler and maybe even the better striker. They're both going to look to grapple, though, however. I do see Sergey Spivak, how slick he was able to grab that armbar against Tybura. If he's able to do something like that to Hayat Almeida, heavyweight guys are hard to move. And these guys dry early on at the fight. If Hayat Almeida doesn't shoot a clean takedown, I wouldn't be surprised by another first round submission from Sergey Spivak, as he just was really impressive with that, especially to be that big and mobile on the ground. I think we're going to see an exciting grappling matchup between two guys. Sergey Spivak, can match his reach, and they're both, midweight heavyweights, shaving about 20 pounds off of the maximum. But we'll see who can get this one done for the pick in this video. I am going to go Hayat Almeida, as I just don't know if Sergey Spivak is going to be able to do the same thing. Hayat Almeida is just a phenomenal grappler, and he may be the best person in this division not named Tom Aspinall in grappling. On to the featured fight of the prelims. We have a matchup between Peyton Talbot and Raoni Barcelos. And this one for me, I'm not going to waste much time. It's going to be Peyton Talbot. I think this kid is next up. His forward pressure, heavy leg kicks, and 1-2 down the middle. He's putting everybody away. He sits back at the beginning of fights and just analyzes whoever's coming at him. He can read people like books, and I think that his striking is just on another level. His chin is really not been tested, though. That is one thing I will say, fighting against his toughest competitor, but just with a reach disadvantage. And I think Raoni Barcelos has a way inferior chin. Not that we've seen Talbot's tested, but we've seen Barcelos is cracked, and I think Talbot's going to be able to chew up the legs and find that 1-2 down the middle, put him away clean. Give me Peyton Talbot for a round 1 or 2 finish. I'm probably going to smash the round 1 finish in this one, guys. I really am confident. Peyton Talbot all the way. Moving right along into the first fight of the main card, we have a matchup between Kevin Holland and Reiner de Ridder. This one for me is going to be a Kevin Holland special. I think Kevin Holland puts him away on the feet. And if not, he could even lock up a submission on this. That's going to be a degenerate prop for sure. As Reiner de Ridder, the former ONE FC champion in 2 divisions, he came in his UFC debut against Gerald Meerschaert and really struggled against him on the feet, to say the least. He did have some phenomenal grappling exchanges in that, though. Gerald Meerschaert and him put on a show for jiu-jitsu practitioners. But that being said, they were very sloppy on the feet. And Kevin Holland at 185 with the 3-inch reach advantage is going to be extremely deadly in this matchup. I think Kevin Holland is one of the better strikers in the UFC. However, he just does not really always take things seriously. Coming off of the frustrating loss against Roman Dolidze, where his rib kind of broke in a grappling exchange, it is kind of worrisome in this fight. But I think that Kevin Holland possesses the jiu-jitsu to get out of some of Reiner de Ridder's pressure. It's not like Reiner de Ridder looked like an insane wrestler. He kind of looks like he looks to get tricky takedowns and stuff. And I think Kevin Holland's going to be able to really just piece him up and put him in a bad way. I'm going an early finish here for the Trailblazer, Kevin Holland, and a big bounce-back performance here, especially when we can get him close to even odds. Give me Kevin Holland, the UFC veteran, over the Reiner de Ridder, who is not a great striker in his second fight in the UFC. Moving along, we have a matchup between Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano. Money Moicano, my guy. I picked the Benoit Saint Denis upset. I would be lying to you if I told you I thought he was going to get it done in the first round. He made that fight, which was supposed to be a tough test, look extremely easy, and it'd be hard not to be favoring him coming into this matchup against Beneil Dariush, who really has looked like his career trajectory is on the other way. Um, that being said, Beneil Dariush is a very, very skilled grappler, and when it comes to on the feet, he may be the better striker. He does have kind of the more creative, striking techniques. We've seen him land the spinning back fists and the really good high kicks. And Moicano really just kind of a distance boxer. He'll hit you with some good low kicks and piece you up, but really he's looking for those takedowns. And I think Beneil Dariush could surprise him here in some grappling exchanges, and I hate to admit it, but I am a little bit scared on this one. But I got to back my boy Renato Moicano. I don't know if this one's going to be easy money for him, but I do think that he gets it done just based off of momentum alone. If he's able to get that double leg and get on top, and Beneil Dariush is stuck on his back, and while Moicano's mounted him, the fight's over. Moicano's pressure and ground and pound has just looked too elite, and it's hard not to pick him in this situation. Money Moicano will be the pick here. On to the featured fight of the main card. We have a matchup between Yuri Prohashka and Jamal Hill at the light heavyweight division. And it scares me because the first three fights in this main card I'm picking with my heart. And it's going to be Yuri Prohashka on this one. It's more than just heart on this, though, guys. I really do think that, especially in this one, he has a good matchup to win. Jamal Hill throws nice 1-2 shots right down the middle, really good straights, and he does have the power to really put out anybody at the light heavyweight division. So if you're backing him on this, I really do understand it. Yuri Prohashka has been chinned by Alex Pereira twice now, but you know what? Jamal Hill got chinned even easier, in my opinion, by Alex Poetan, is that's really just what Poetan does. He touches people and they go to sleep. All jokes aside, the leg kicks are hard to overcome, especially for both of these fighters. And Yuri Prohashka with the wide stance and Poetan's leg kicks are just a tough matchup, and that's something that I don't know if he'll ever be able to overcome. But in this one with Jamal Hill's straights down the middle, I do think Yuri might be live to land a looping hook KO reckless shot that he throws, maybe eats one and just lands a bomb over the top. I'm going to be betting Yuri Prohashka by KO here. I really like this pot for him. And yeah, maybe even a sprinkle on the sub, but I do think he gets it done inside the distance, and he will be the pick for the featured fight. Co-main event time is a battle for the bantamweight champion between Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov. For this one, it's going to be tough to pick against the champion Merab, but I am going to be. Umar Nurmagomedov does have the distance striking to keep this at bay, and I do believe he has the wrestling defense and offense, which you need both to be able to stop the chain wrestling that Merab Dvalishvili is going to be looking to bring here. It is a suffocating pressure, and we've seen him take other wrestlers like Peter Yan down and consistently take him down. Not just Peter Yan, but Henry Cejudo. We've just seen him do really dominant things to other wrestlers. The difference is here, Umar Nurmagomedov base is elite kickboxing, and I think that he is going to be the better fighter on the feet here. If he can even just stuff half of the takedowns from Merab, I think that he's going to be able to win this fight, as I do think that even if he gets taken down a time or two, he'll be able to roll out and maybe even reverse a position or two. I don't know if I see either fighter getting finished, as Merab is extremely tough. If anyone, I would see a KO, maybe like a knee up the middle from Nurmagomedov to Dvalishvili. But I think this is a decision here. I could see it being 2 rounds to 1, which is why, kind of plus 250 and growing odds for Dvalishvili is a scary bet to place against, especially like a minus 350 on Nurmagomedov. But I do think that the lines are right here. I think the market knows that, this is a good spot for Nurmagomedov, and especially representing Dagestan here with Makhachev fighting in the main event. He's going to look to get Russia a win here, and not just that, but win the championship, which is going to be his main goal. So give me Umar Nurmagomedov and New for the pick. Moving along to the main event, We have Islam Makhachev and Arman Sarukian 2. And for this one, guys, I'm going champ and still back to back Russian picks here, walking away with the victory. This is the only sport where you're ever catching me picking Russia anything. But I will say they do tend to have the fighting aspects and the fighting mixed martial arts part of the world dominated, especially Islam Makhachev, is he's just a dominant career. I will say, not just to leave it one sided, the Arman Sarukian is a scary challenger here. He's dangerous from everywhere, and I do think he's going to give Makhachev a very tough test. That being said, I think Makhachev might retire as the greatest of all time. This here is going to give him the most lightweight title defenses in UFC history. And I just think that he's really going to come into this one focused. Um, Not only that, but I've heard word on the internet not to buy into this too much, but that Arman Sarukian has a staph infection. I'm hoping that this fight doesn't get canceled because with how stacked the rest of the card is, they could just scrap this and move Marab and Umar as the main event. But I really do like this main event. I think that it's going to be an exciting one here. It's gonna be probably a 4 or 5 finish for me if I had to call it for Makachev. Is I think that at the end of the first fight, which was towards the beginning of their career, these guys are both completely different fighters now, way more advanced. I just think Makachev, when it gets to the end of the fight, his kickboxing ability, wrestling ability, he's just great everywhere. And I think he's just a little bit better than Arman Sarukian everywhere. Both well rounded fighters, should be an exciting match wherever it goes. But give me Makachev for the late finish here. I could see a submission or a KO, but I do think that it's going to end inside the distance. And still, for the greatest lightweight of all time, Islam Makhachev. That's going to be the final pick for this card, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget about the betting breakdown show coming up this Friday. To help yourself not forget, you can go ahead and press the subscribe button, turn on post notifications every Wednesday and Friday, 8:30 on Wednesdays, 10 o'clock Fridays. We do have these videos posted. The betting breakdown's a little bit more of an insight into the card and what I'm going to really be betting on for each individual fight. Lock of the week, dog of the week, degenerate props, things like that you'll see on the Friday show. I do appreciate all of the support. Smash the like button on your way out, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys Friday night. Let's go ahead and lock in some bets and see you at the cash count.